everyone, we're going to find the values of sine of alpha divided by 2, cosine of alpha divided by 2, and tan of alpha divided by 2, given that tan of alpha is 4/3 and we're in quadrant 3. Our angle is in between pi and 3 pi divided by 2. So basically we're going to be using these half angle formulas. And the first thing we're going to do is try to find, let's find cosine. Since we're given tangent, we know that secant squared of alpha equals tan squared of alpha plus 1. We also know that secant of alpha is 1 divided by cosine. So basically I can say cosine squared of alpha is 1 divided by secant squared of alpha. So using substitution, what we did here, this is going to equal 1 divided by tan squared of alpha plus 1. And I just substituted this in. And so then I know my tan is 4 divided by 3. So this is going to equal 1 divided by, and substitute in your tan. So that's 4/3 square plus 1. All right, so you add all that up, you're going to get 9 divided by 25. All right, now since we're in quadrant 3, that means both my cosine of alpha and my sine of alpha are negative. So you square root this, you're going to get cosine of alpha equals 3 divided, if you square root this, square root both sides, usually get plus and minus, but we're going to have to use the minus. So this is going to be negative 3 divided by 5. All right, now that we have that, we can figure out everything else. So we have, we're going to use these formulas for half angles. And the reason I got cosine again is because for my half angles here, my half angles always have cosine in them. So we have cosine. So let's do that now. Let's see. We have cosine of alpha equals negative 3/5. Okay, so let's get started. Now, for sine squared of alpha divided by 2, that's this formula here, right? Without the square root. So basically, if I take away the square root, it's just going to be 1 minus cosine of alpha divided by 2. It's a lot easier to work with the square of it and then take the square root of it later. So when we get this, we're going to get 1 plus 3/5 divided by 2, which equals 4/5. Now, cosine squared, and again I'm squaring it so I can get rid of that radical, alpha divided by 2. That's going to be 1 plus cosine of alpha divided by 2. So that's going to be 1 minus 3/5 divided by 2. That's going to be 2/10. So that's going to be 1/5. So check, check. And then tan squared of alpha divided by 2, that's just sine squared of alpha divided by 2 divided by that. So basically I can just write 1 minus cosine of alpha divided by 1 plus cosine of alpha, which equals 4/5 divided by 1/5. So basically that's going to be the 5's cancel, so you get 4. So we have this one, but they're all squared. So basically all we have to do now is square root them all. So basically what we're going to do is notice that we're in quadrant 3. So basically our alpha is in between pi and 3 pi divided by 2. And what we're looking at is our half angles. So that would mean if you divide everything by 2, you're going to get pi divided by 2 is less than alpha divided by 2 is less than 3 pi divided by 4. In this range here, my sine of alpha divided by 2 is going to be positive. My cosine of alpha divided by 2 is going to be negative, and therefore my tan of alpha divided by 2 is also going to be negative. All right, so basically we need sine of alpha divided by 2. So that's just going to be the square root of what we had for sine, which was 4/5. Take the square root of that, and that's going to be 2 divided by square root of 5. And if you rationalize it, you get 2 square root of 5 divided by 5. All right, cosine of alpha divided by 2, you put the negative in front. That's going to be square root of 1/5, which equals negative square root of 5 divided by 5. And finally, our tan of alpha divided by 2, that's going to be negative square root of 4, which equals negative 2. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.